Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Acknowledge.
Cannot deploy.
Yes, sir.
here.
Acknowledge.
New construction options.
Awaiting
Building.
order. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledge.
Construction
Affirmative.
complete. New construction options. Building.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledge. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledge. 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 Acknowledge.
Construction
Acknowledge.
complete.
Acknowledge. 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 Affirmative.
New construction options. Building.
Awaiting order. Acknowledge. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledge.
Construction complete.
Vehicle acknowledge. Acknowledge.
New construction options. Unit lost. Building. Building.
Vehicle acknowledged.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Building. On hold. Cancel. Building.
Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir.
Acknowledge.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Reading acknowledged. Affirmative.
Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Agreed.
Unit ready. Building.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledge. Yes, sir.
Construction complete.
Affirmative.
New construction options. Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Building. Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Building. Unable to comply. Building in progress. Unit ready.
Vehicle reporting.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Building.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting.
Construction complete. New construction options. Building. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes,
Insufficient
affirmative.
funds. Unit ready.
Awaiting acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Very well. Awaiting orders.
Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir.
Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Building.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Building.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Awaiting orders. Awaiting orders.
Unit ready. Building.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit
Reporting.
ready.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Building.
Ready and waiting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Waiting orders. Acknowledged. Waiting orders. Affirmative.
Reporting.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Vehicle acknowledged.
Waiting orders. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Building.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building.
Awaiting orders. Awaiting. Very well.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Reporting.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged.
Building.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
Reporting.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting.
Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Vehicle reporting.
Affirmative.
Awaiting order.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Building.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged.
Reporting. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir.
Building.
Yes, sir.
Construction complete. Building. Unit ready. Construction complete. Building. Building. Construction complete. Building. Construction complete. Unable to comply. Building in progress. Building. Construction complete. Building. Unit ready. Building. Construction complete.
Reporting.
Affirmative.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit
Yes,
ready.
sir.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Acknowledged.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Vehicle.
Acknowledged. 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 Waiting orders.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Reporting.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Waiting orders.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Building.
Reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Reporting.
Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit
Yes,
lost.
sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit
Affirmative.
lost. Unit ready.
Reporting.
Unit
Affirmative.
lost.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Acknowledged.
Building. Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit
Yes, sir.
ready.
Acknowledged.
Building. Unit lost. Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Waiting orders.
Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Affirmative. At once. Yes, sir. Very well.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building. Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Yes, sir.
lost.
Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Reporting. Affirmative.
Yes,
Unit
sir.
ready.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Construction complete.
Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
New construction options. Building. Building.
Awaiting order.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Awaiting order. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Acknowledge.
Unit ready. Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
New construction options. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Awaiting orders.
On hold. Cancel. Building.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Affirmative.
Unit prepared.
Awaiting orders.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Agreed. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Prepare.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledge.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
Yes.
Unit prepared.
Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Acknowledge. Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge.
Prepared. Unit ready.
Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit prepared.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Prepared.
Vehicle reporting.
Unit prepared. Structure sold. Structure sold. Prepared.
Reporting. Acknowledge.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge.
Unit prepared. Prepared.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit prepared.
Acknowledge. Vehicle reporting.
Prepared.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Unit prepared.
Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Building prepared. On hold. Cancel.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Unit prepared.
Vehicle reporting.
Preparing.
Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit prepared.
Affirmative.
Prepared.
Acknowledge.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge.
Yes.
Unit prepared.
Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Reporting. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Reporting.
Preparing.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Acknowledged.
Unit repaired.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Waiting orders. Waiting orders. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Repairing.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Waiting orders.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit
Acknowledged.
repaired.
Ready
Unit
and waiting.
lost. Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Acknowledged.
Unit
Affirmative.
lost.
Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Very well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting. Vehicle reporting.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Vehicle. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Vehicle affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Vehicle.
Affirmative. 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 Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit
Affirmative.
lost. Unit
Affirmative.
lost.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Reporting.
Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Reporting.
Unit
Yes, sir.
lost. Unit
Waiting
lost.
orders.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Reporting.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged.
Building.
Reporting.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Unit
Yes,
lost.
sir. Reporting.
Unit lost.
At once.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Building.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting.
Affirmative.
Awaiting. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Building.
Reporting.
Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit
Acknowledged.
ready. Building.
Affirmative.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit
Yes, sir.
ready.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Building.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building.
Awaiting orders.
Affirmative. Vehicle reporting.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
Unit
Acknowledged.
ready. Building.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
On hold. Cancel.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Building.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes,
Unit
sir, of course.
lost. Unit lost.
Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit
Affirmative.
ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Reporting.
Unit lost.
Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Building.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged.
Vehicle affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Unit
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Reporting. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Our base is
Reporting.
under attack.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Building.
Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Reporting.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Vehicle.
Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Reporting.
Affirmative.
Vehicle. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Affirmative. 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 Affirmative.
Waiting order.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Vehicle report acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes,
Unit
sir.
lost.
Of course. Reporting.
Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Reporting.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged.
Reporting.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative.
Vehicle.
Affirmative. Affirmative.
Building.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Building.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Insufficient funds. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Yes, acknowledged. Affirmative. Waiting order.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Report affirmative. Vehicle reporting.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes,
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
awaiting orders.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledged.
Being acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Mission accomplished.